All right, so today we're going to talk about the season finale and the overall season of Insecure on HBO. And I'm going to answer some questions that you guys submitted. But first, I'm going to go grab some wine so I'm extra, ready to do this shit.
The outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the outline. With Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. With Kevin Dwayne.
Yo, what's up? This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Thank you so much for listening. It's either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, depending on when I decide to post this, because I get anxious sometimes. Sometimes I'll have a podcast and I'm like, this sounds too good to wait till tomorrow. I'm just going to post it now. For example, last week with Dwayne, I posted it on Tuesday because I enjoyed our conversation. Now, I don't know if you guys are as picky as I am when it comes to sound. Last week's sound wasn't top quality, and I do apologize for that. We did attempt to record it with one mic, but I also learned while it does have a feature for that, every person should have their own mic. And I'm very much a person who likes to learn as he goes. So now I know. So I'm going to invest in another mic for my in-person guests. But as far as like Skype, that still works out just fine. But thank you so much for joining me. Remember, this podcast is on kevindwayne.com. It's on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher, Google Play Music. Share it with your friends. Leave your comments on SoundCloud. Rate it on iTunes. And just thank you so much for the support. This is episode 20. And I can't believe it. Time goes by so fast. And I think the best part of having goals and working on things is if you do something consistently, the time will pass and you can look back and say, wow, I did this. And this is one of those things I'm really proud of. I'm glad that I started this podcast, and I'm glad that I have a faithful audience that listens in and looks forward to hearing my input, no matter how trash it may come across. But I love it. I really do. And I know I don't get enough of telling you guys that, but thank you so much for listening. So as I told you all before, this episode is going to be the Q&A episode, and I'm not going to dig too much into pop culture like I usually do, but I do want to talk about Insecure, the show on HBO. The season finale came on Sunday, and when I tell you, it's hard to believe that this show is scripted. It's fiction. These people are not real. However, their situations are very, 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 very real. And when I tell you the amount of discussion that this show has caused since Sunday, well, since the beginning of it, since it came out 8 weeks ago, but this last episode has really gotten people talking, and it's talking about just gender politics and just nuances among Black people and sexuality, and just it really has opened the lid on how some of us think, or how many of us think, really. And I'm grateful for that because, for one, we're uncovering the hypocrisy. But for two, you get to see how trash some people's opinions really are, and how sexism plays a role in many opinions and things of that sort. And so it's just very interesting. I myself have been in several discussions because I've been very passionate about the show, and I have no problem putting my opinion out there because that's what my platform is for. It's to give a statement, and it's also to encourage different perspectives. Like, I don't mind hearing other perspectives. I'm not closed off to hearing other things and even changing my mind. But just know that when I give an opinion, it's researched and there's a background there. I don't just speak off of feeling alone. I literally sit with it for a second and try to look at it from different sides and talk to other people to see their sides. And so I'm not always stuck on it. Typically, when I'm giving a public opinion, I've already thought it through. It's not a matter of me just going off of feelings or projections, though they still show up. I think everyone's projections show up. It's just a matter of being aware of that. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. So, do I have to really give a spoiler alert? I mean, god damn it, the title says we're going to be talking about Insecure. You've had enough warning. So if you haven't watched it, I guess turn the podcast off or whatever, but we're going to talk about it. So the last episode, the inevitable happened. Lawrence actually left Issa, and he ended up sleeping with the girl that he knew from Chase. You know, it was kind of the given thing. This caused a huge divide among men and women, like just the ideas, and it got me to thinking deeper into just the relationship because gender politics come into play. Like I've noticed that a lot of people had no problem bashing Issa and saying, "Oh, you know, she's a hoe," or "She didn't know what she got. She was ungrateful. She's immature. She's trifling. She's this, that, and the other." And then Lawrence got to just be the good guy. Albeit, I wouldn't call either of them the names that other people call them. And it's funny that we're talking about this because they're fictional characters. They're not real people. But the passion that has been used to talk about this show has been amazing to me because you would swear it was a reality show and these people are real because we're so connected. And I think that's beautiful because I don't think we've ever had a show like this in the Black community that really gets us talking, you know? So I noticed that there was this whole Lawrence was a good dude, period. Like Issa missed out on a good thing. And while that has some elements of truth, I wanted to point out the fact that Lawrence held his own responsibility in the situation. And a lot of times we don't really look at we don't look at the complexity of it. Everything, people want things to be black and white all the goddamn time. They never want things to be nuanced. They want to downplay things. And I noticed that as soon as Issa cheated, all of her frustrations and all of her things that she had issues with before that became mute. People all of a sudden were like, "Oh, fuck her. That's stupid. What's wrong with you?" I mean, some people were still rooting for her because we like Issa. We relate to her. It's her goddamn show, you know? So there's that. Not everybody was doing that, but I did notice a lot of straight men were kind of like, "Nah, she's trash. See, these girls." It was like, they felt like it was a one-up for them. And I find that funny because a lot of men, straight men, gay men, whatever, a lot of men in general, like, stay cheating. Like, trash, like cheat, 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 cheat. And for some reason they identify with Lawrence, but y'all ain't nothing like Lawrence. Y'all are just straight up trash, period. Y'all don't have any good qualities. Like and you felt like this was like one for the movement or one for the culture. And just seeing the reactions online about this was interesting because once again, it was very black and white and very built on sexism and how we view women and how we view men. So, after my initial shot, because on Sunday I was through. I was legit sad over this goddamn show. Like I kept posting about it on Facebook, like back to back to back to back to back, and I literally needed a counseling session. Me and my friend talked on the phone about it. I woke up the next morning like, damn, why did it have to happen that way? Yes, we knew this was going to happen. We knew this. We felt it the whole time. But I think in a way, we wanted Lawrence to somehow have some kind of grace towards Issa and be like, you know what? No, I legitimately miss you and I want to work it out. And so then I started thinking about, okay, there was a part where he calls her and tells her that he misses her. And she's like, okay, you can go to the house. I'm not going to be there till Monday. And he goes home. You see him go home and place his bag down and kind of smirk like, okay, we're going to work this out. So Issa rushes home from Malibu. And that was a moment where she mended fences with Molly, which was really beautiful. And I think it's great that this was a catalyst for their friendship to heal. Because when it comes down to it, the show is about their friendship more than it is about her and Lawrence. So it was good that she has her friend back in her corner. So that was very important. But the Lawrence situation is still one to talk about. So she rushes home and she walks in the house and she notices that he actually has moved out. And then it instantly cuts to him banging out Tasha, which was the friend from Chase, the one who's admired him for weeks, or forever. I don't know how long, but she's admired him. So he's just he's getting all his aggression out. You can tell it was revenge sex. It wasn't on no interest or I love you shit. It was like, no, I'm mad. I'm horny for being at the strip club. I just need to get this nut off. And he was tearing it up. And they put the real good filter on him this week. You know, they had the baby oil. He been doing sit-ups every day. Like it was beautiful, a very sexy moment, but it also made me so sad because I knew like, damn, like it might be a wrap. And so I was hurt. And it wasn't on no, oh, Issa is the victim, because she's not. No, she cheated. And we know that when you cheat, you kind of lose all rights of everything. And that's just how society works. It sucks because her cheating was never her intention, and I think the show shows that it was never her intention. Yes, she should have cut Daniel off, but if people are honest with themselves, they will tell you that temptation is not that fucking easy, and that's why it's called temptation. She shouldn't have been alone with him, and that situation shouldn't have happened. But it did. And it wasn't on no, I'm gonna go fuck over my nigga today. It was very much like, okay, like I think I'm playing it safe, but she lost. She ended up having sex with him and regretting it. And that's just life. It happens so often. Not an excuse, but I think we have to start looking at complexity. We have to look at nuance. We can't just make everything black and white. You cheat, you're scum, you're this, you're that. No, things are more complex than this. So that led me to dig deeper. So the next day, I posted a post on Facebook, and actually, let me find it. Instead of paraphrasing, I can just tell you exactly what I said, so it makes sense. Bear with me one moment while I look this shit up. But I posted this, and it got an interesting reaction, and I thought it was interesting because I got to see the levels of which people put themselves in these situations and their experiences, and it caused people to really get like angry. So what I said was this. I was like, what made Lawrence a good dude? Was it because he didn't mess around on her? Let's remove the cheating and let's discuss the relationship. When the show began, Lawrence lacked ambition. He was on the couch for a few years. He played her on her birthday. Like, he was like, can we go get a goddamn red box and just chill? I mean, I know it's your special day, your last of your 20s, but listen, I'm not in the mood. There was that. And then he was half-assed looking for work, and he didn't even get a damn haircut. Like, he took no interest in his look. He was in his sweatpants. He was just on the goddamn couch, just settling, you know? So Issa was frustrated. She was carrying the finances, she was having lackluster sex, and the relationship was not progressing. It wasn't until she threatened to leave him in that first episode, like, hey, maybe we should do things separately. We should figure things out separately. Like, she literally is like, no, let's just stop. And that's when he got a fire lit under his ass and he started trying. And he certainly did step it up. He did. But was it too late? Was it too late? And so I think, his cuteness aside, Issa should have left in the beginning. She should have held her guns and said, you know what, let's figure things out separately. Figured out what it was with Daniel, had sex, and, not hurt him in the process. He could have figured out his job situation and all that. They could have figured out separately. They had this stale relationship, and that would have been great. But it wouldn't have made for quality TV. There will be no show if that didn't happen. And I think that's the brilliance of the show, because it literally shows you how fucked up things can be. So, of course, people were in their feelings about that. Not everyone. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's a good perspective." But I also had some people who were just like, "Nah, fuck that. Lawrence is a good dude. He's a good dude. Like, she's stupid for that. Like, he was there. Like, he was present. It wasn't a surprise who he was. It wasn't none of that. So there was that. There was a little bit of going back and forth with people. But I'm not gonna do too much. If you know anything about me, I said what I said. I'll listen to a couple perspectives, but I'm not going to go back and forth with you forever. I usually unfollow my own posts. So if you ever say something to me lengthy or whatever, yeah, you don't get a response from me, I probably didn't see it, because I'm not going to go back and forth for hours and hours. I will go through a couple. I usually do it for about an hour, see all the opposing arguments, talk to people, hear different perspectives. But I'm not going to respond to every single person that has an opinion. That would drain everyone, including myself. And with my platform, it's a lot of people, so I'm not going to do that. So I end up unfollowing the post. And so this morning, I posted Essen's article, and let me confirm that I'm telling the truth right now because I have my phone open. Sorry, it was an Ebony article, and it was entitled "Lawrence, Insecure, and the Myth of the Good Guy." And I found an interesting response from a friend of mine who was also very passionate about this. He was Team Lawrence. And let me let you know, I'm not Team Lawrence or Team Issa. I am very much like, I just love the show and the conversation, because guess what? I've been Lawrence and I've been Issa. So it's not a matter of pitting men versus women. It's not a matter of one's right over the other. It's not about justifying cheating. It's just having the conversation of things that could really go wrong in a relationship and where we fuck up. And so I'm gonna read his response. I'm not gonna say who it is, but I was cracking up at the intro. His intro said, "You were okay." Let me repeat this before so you don't get confused. So I reposted an article. It wasn't my article. It was Ebony's article. And it was called "Lawrence, Insecure, and the Myth of the Good Guy." Check it out. It's a really good read. That's all I did was repost it. I didn't say nothing. I just reposted the shit. And so he posts, "You are really feeling some kind of way about this show and topic, and I appreciate your opinion." Now, the first part of this cracks me up, because if you can see the length of his response, you can tell that this is already a projection. So wait a minute. You're telling me that I'm feeling some way about this, and I am. I am feeling a way about it. That's why I'm posting this, because I am passionate about this. I'm an empath, and I like to talk about these things. But you also are feeling some type of way about this. Otherwise, you would not be posting a lengthy ass comment on my page. I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was really funny. I was like, you already came into this on some like, wow, you really on this. Well, I guess you are too, because you're here commenting and leaving dissertation. So whatever. So he continued, and this was what he said. And I'm going to read what he said, and I'm going to read my response. And it may be kind of lengthy, but I think it's important. And I wrote way too much not to share it. So bear with me. So this is what he said. He was like, "I disagree with this article." By the way, go read the article so you know what we're talking about. But he's like, "However, I disagree with this article. And it is totally written from a woman's biased point of view for other women. Can someone please tell me where in the show it was stated that Lawrence was unemployed for 4 years? I think it seems more likely that he had been unemployed for a year, maybe less. And speaking as someone who has always been a hard worker all his life, projection, 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 it's nice to take a break from that. I took off work for 2 years and enjoyed every moment of not having to do anything, and I didn't feel like doing from day to day. Why do some people feel like if you're black and not working, you must not be contributing at least equally financially, or you are a bum? If he were a white man that went to the bank and made a withdrawal, it will be assumed he had enough money to live off of. I'm also of the mindset that if they broke up at 10:30 p.m., they are both free to fuck whomever they want to fuck at 10:31 p.m. Why should he take his ex's feelings into consideration? They broke up. It's over. He's single again. Issa stayed for whatever reasons she had and put up with the type of man Lawrence was and is for whatever reasons. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. P.S. Thanks for having a space for me to express my feelings. So this would once again, he had a right to have that opinion. And I did see a little bit of projection because he definitely applied himself to it, which we all do. And I've noticed that's been kind of the name of the game. Like, people apply themselves to situations, but sometimes it goes left because you're like, are we still talking about the same thing? Or are we talking about like your actual life? But what it is it's triggers. Things trigger us and it makes us feel some type of way. And when we feel some type of way, we say things about it. Nothing wrong with that. So go read the article that I posted on it's on Ebony. Check it out. But this was my response to him. And when I wrote this, I try not to be combative. That's not my style. What I try to do is explain my stance clearly. And I don't always succeed at that. Sometimes I try to be short in my words, and I think a lot is left for translation of other people, and that's dangerous. So I'm working on actually explaining things better. So the way I responded to him is actually very, very, very long. Not very long, but I wrote it in a way that I could outline everything that I was feeling and why I look at things differently. Not just because I'm a man doesn't mean I have to agree with every other man, and just because someone is attractive, I have to agree that what they're doing is right. So this is my response to him. So I said to him, we all speak from bias in some kind of way. Our experiences are what drive our perspectives. As you have applied your own life to the character of Lawrence, that is totally fine. It's good to see things from a different point of view. Number one, rewatch the first episode. That's where it was explained about his unemployment and how long they were together and her frustration with the stagnation of their relationship. Number two, this isn't about him leaving her and moving on. That is his right. He wasn't wrong in that at all. He certainly tried to make things right. For that, he is a great guy, but not without responsibility in the entire outcome. We aren't just spectators in life. We are active participants. Number three, this is about a double standard on both men and women. This is why it's a great conversation to have, because we have to look at it on all sides. Skip the part. Number four, we all have downtime and moments when we are out of work or just not doing as well financially as we want. It happens. That's also fine. Lawrence isn't bad or even a bum for this. Issa also isn't bad for being frustrated with him. How would you feel if you had a man, or let's just say, how would you feel if you had an adult in your house while you were at work all day? You hate your own job, but you're at least trying. But this has been going on for a few years. You're trying to get your hustle on, but you have this guy who, he has a business plan, but he hasn't put any action in it. He's literally just kind of sitting around collecting unemployment and half-ass looking for work. Like, he does it, but it's not as serious. You've been with him for several years. The relationship is going nowhere. No talk of marriage or even conversations about progression in the relationship. And all of this was outlined in the first 2 episodes. Number 5, Black women are commonly expected to put up with complacency from their men and always support them no matter what. But it isn't always reciprocated. A lot of times it's not reciprocated. It's almost like having a child in the household. When these women request effort, they are told their standards are too high and they are nagging. No other race of woman is told this from my observation. Black women are commonly told to settle just because they have a man. Meanwhile, men can demand a woman who cooks, cleans, works, be a bad bitch, raise the kids, has mind-blowing sex while also keeping a tight, clean vagina, and excuse his cheating on her from time to time because a man's gonna be a man. Number 6. You don't get points for being a decent, civilized human being. This idea that because I don't hit you or abuse you or cheat on you, I'm a good guy is flawed. No, you're decent and civilized. That's it. You don't get points for that. I compare it to growing up. I remember I used to clean my room out of nowhere and go to my mom and be like, oh, I cleaned my room. Can I have like a reward? And she'd be like, you're supposed to clean your room. Like, get out of my face. Like, I'm not going to reward you for doing what you're supposed to do. And being civilized is not something you get rewarded for. So, number 7. Yes, Issa stayed for her own reasons, most likely her insecurities. She wasn't good at communication, and she was messy and shady at times, a lot of the times. She needs to grow, and hopefully the show develops this and expounds on this and shows her growth in her working on this. Number 8. Lawrence became stagnant. He half-assed his efforts in everything. He could have been depressed and Issa could have supported that, but for how long? How long are we to enable one's negative behavior before we light a fire under them to push them forward? Number 9. I've noticed we tend to blame women for everything that happens. End quotes. He beat you. Oh well, your ass should have left him. He doesn't pay child support. Oh well, you should have fucked a better nigga. He cheated. Oh well, you should have sucked and swallowed his dick more. You were raped? Oh well, you shouldn't have worn that. We live in a society that doesn't make men take responsibility for their own actions. Now, this is not about men versus women. It's about evening the playing field. Sometimes we blindly defend men because we are men or we attracted to them. Because there are a lot of women who cape for men over women as well. Over themselves. Many people are only defending Lawrence because he's a good-looking guy. I wonder if they casted someone differently that wasn't as pleasing on the eye, how would this go? Issa has done some messed up things, and she doesn't get to play victim at all. Like, she is karma. She doesn't get to play victim at all. However, we can't ignore her complexity in the whole situation. This show is great because it's making us uncover double standards and hypocrisy. The conversation has started among Black people, and it's amazing. Thank you for listening to Another Perspective. So that was my response to him. He liked it. He didn't respond back, so I don't know if he just didn't want to go back and forth or whatever, but I'm glad we both got to express our points of view and just let it be. But it's important because I'm learning that people don't talk about things enough. And sometimes we have these deeply held beliefs that we don't want to let go of. And it's easier to bash somebody or easier to discount things and make them what they aren't, or make them black and white just so they still fit in your box, instead of looking at how nuanced things can actually be. And that's why I love Insecure so much. Like, I love it because they have literally talked about classism. They've talked about sexuality. They've talked about, like, the dynamics. And I love that they made Issa the one who wasn't faithful. And they made her the person that cheats, the person that stepped out, because it gave a different perspective. And it just shows you how we view gender differently and we look at it differently. And I think final thing that I kind of don't like, though, I don't like the fact that everyone calls Tasha the chase hoe, and she's this and she's that, and she's throwing pussy, and she's a commodity. That's fucked up. Literally all she is a girl who likes Lawrence. That's it. Never once did she say, leave your girlfriend for me. Never once. People are acting like she's Pandora on Baby Boy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch fucking Baby Boy. I mean, damn. So it's not like she's like, ooh, I'm trying to fuck, come through, like, whatever. Like, there was a situation at Best Buy, and he had to remind her, like, I have a girlfriend. She's like, oh, shit. That is as far as it goes, as far as, like, whatever. But she wasn't throwing herself on him in a way that was like, leave your girl for me. But she showed interest in him. She believed in him. She thinks he's a good guy. And so the fact that everyone's calling her, this chase hoe, and look, she throwing a pussy at you, and she doing this, and she's doing that, I think that's kind of fucked up, because all she is just another woman that has shown interest in him. And it goes to show you how we look at women versus men, because no one really clowned Daniel for coming on to Issa. Like, no one, it's like women are always to blame for everything, and that shit sucks, and someone has to call it out. So that's just where I am. So the show, I'm mad we don't get season 2 till next year, but we do get 10 episodes next time. So I'm excited about that. I really want to see where they take this. But it was a great season. I loved it. It really took a lot out of me, but it is still one of my favorite shows to watch. And if you haven't watched it, go watch Insecure. It's amazing. I mean, I've told you enough about it. It's funny. Those last couple episodes were hella drama. Also, there's a team of writers who write the show. And I had to note that those last 2 episodes, which were kind of darker than the other 6, were they those episodes were written by a man, and I thought that was interesting too. I was like, male point of view. This makes total sense. But just a little side note on that one. But love the show. It's Insecure. It's my favorite. I'm really sad that it's not gonna be on. Like, can it just start tomorrow? Like, please. Like, ugh. But I love it. But whatever. Let's get to these goddamn questions. Where is my wine? Well, actually, I'm drinking champagne right now. A little bubbly, you know. So let me get a little drink so we get into these questions. All right. So let's see. Some of these are like, a lot of these are really interesting, actually. Like, I like that there was some stepping out of the box, or they're more general questions, and I think this will be fun. So let's start with number one. Let's see. What was the last picture you took with your phone? Okay, let's take a look. What is the last picture I took with my phone? The last picture I took with my phone was a ugly ass selfie of myself that I took this morning. I was playing in my hair, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I didn't post it. But that was the last picture I took in my phone. Good question, though. Oh my God. What was the last lie you told? Oh shit. What was the last lie I told? Oh shit. I don't know if I really want to even fuck it. Okay, so shit. No, never mind. I'm not answering that question. Cuz I don't know if the person listens to this goddamn thing. But yeah, I lied to somebody. Damn it. Let's just say I was supposed to be somewhere and I was not. And if my cousin is listening, no, not you, not that. I was serious about that. This was somebody else. I don't want you to think it was that, because there were multiple places I was supposed to be this weekend. But I was supposed to be somewhere on Thanksgiving, but I had other places that I had to go, but I didn't want to let the person down. So I was like, yeah, I can't make it. I'm sorry. And I couldn't, but it was one of those situations where I waited too late to tell them that I already had plans. So I was like, it's going to seem really, really shady. And it was a stupid white lie. It was dumb, but hell, it is what it is. Whatever. There's that. All right. What have you always wanted, and did you ever get it? What have I actually what I always wanted was a long-term relationship, and yes, I did have it. I think my last relationship, which was nearly 3 years, was it. I got to experience what it was like, because before that I was only in relationships for like 3 to 6 months tops. I've never had anything past that honeymoon stage, and it was like when shit got real, it ended. So it was nice to have that that experience. So yeah, actually that was something that I always wanted. It was one of the things I chased after, and I got it, and it was it was an experience. I got to it tested me, it grew me. I know that I don't know if these questions ask for detail, but whatever. But I think it certainly taught me a lot about relationships that I didn't know, a lot of things that I assumed, a lot of things that I didn't realize would happen. I learned a lot about myself, and it was important, and I think it made me a better person. So that was certainly something that I definitely wanted and got. And I'll look to have one again, but on a different foundation and going into it differently, and setting it up in a different kind of way. And that's what I absolutely want to do. All right, cool. What is the best compliment you've ever received? The best compliment I've ever received, someone pretty much told me that they could see that I had a good spirit in my smile. And I like that because, how do I say this? I'm saying this in the most humble way possible. Being in the gay community, and especially in my 20s, I get a lot of shallow compliments. I get a lot of, like, oh, you're so fine, or oh, you're so sexy, oh, your ass is fat, oh, like, oh, you have sexy lips, oh, very in a way that's just like, I always tell people I can't control the way I look. That's something my parents just happened to get together and they had me. But my looks have nothing to do with me. Yes, I maintain them. Yes, I take care of myself, moisturize and stuff and preserve my youth, but at the end of the day, this shit can fade. So for someone to say, "You know what? I can actually see that you have a good spirit and you seem like a cool guy and stuff like that." That was it was a different compliment and I enjoyed it. I like when people see me for who I am and see, my effort and understand where I'm coming from. And it feels good when someone like Ayana says, sees you. Like, I see you, beloved. And that was a moment for me because it wasn't on some shallow shit. And side note, um, a lot of guys don't pass go with me because they start with the shallow shit. Like, if you come at me on some damn, I'm trying to grab that ass or that kind of shit, that doesn't really turn me on. It actually turns me off. And I'm no prude. I like sex like the next person. That's not the issue. But I always feel like how you start something is how you end it. So if you come at me like that, I just don't think it's gonna go anywhere, and it literally turns me off. So just a little hint, a little cheat code. If you're trying to get at me, don't begin with sex. Wait about 10 messages. I'm joking. Wait a little longer before going there with me because, like, that shit sucks. Because I feel like if you only like me for how I look or because, you're sexually attracted to me, what happens when it fades? And what happens when, something changes or whatever, like, I feel like it's just not a good place to start. And that doesn't mean I don't like compliments that I'm attractive. Like, that's not the problem, but just don't rely only on that. I feel like I offer much more than how I look, and that's all. Next question. What is your greatest strength or weakness? Okay. My greatest strength is when I put my mind to something and when I'm really into it, I can really churn out some amazing results. I've learned that. Like, when I really, really, really get to a place of saying this is my passion or this is what I want to do, I can really put my all in it and just knock it out of the park. Um, on the very flip side of that, my greatest weakness is my laziness. I can get really lazy. And I feel like a big reason why I'm not I don't want to say successful because successful that's subjective to I don't really calculate that in numbers, but I feel like I could be in a completely different pace if I worked harder than I currently do. I have so many visions and so many things in my mind and imagination that I would love to bring to life. But sometimes resistance doesn't allow me to do them. Like, sometimes I just can't get past that and I can't get to work and really just churn things out because I could really, really, really kill it if I wanted to. And that's something that I'm still working on, like, real talk, because there's life to live and I really want to put my all into this one life. So those are my greatest strengths and weaknesses. Um, what was your first thought when you woke up this morning? Okay. Um, what was my first thought when I woke up this morning? It was like, shit, I have to return to work today. That's exactly what it was. I've been off since last Friday. No, the Friday before last. Friday before last. I was off for over a week and a little bit of change. And I returned to work today and it was kind of like, damn it. But following that, I decided to meditate and be positive and claim greatness over the day because I did not want to take a negative outlook and manifest negative shit. And actually, my day was actually okay. It wasn't too bad. So that was cool. But that was my first thought. Next question. Do you get along with your family? Why or why not? Huh. That's a very interesting question. Um, My family life is complex. Do I get along with them? Yes, I do. I love my family. They're mostly on the other side of the US. You know, I'm from LA and I live in Atlanta. Um, they they're on the other side. So we don't really like I don't see them for holidays. I don't see them for birthdays. We don't talk regularly because we just don't. Well, no, I won't say that. As some of you guys know, I was raised by my aunt and uncle, and they both passed in 2012. But those are kind of the people that I talk to all the time. And they kind of kept me sheltered in a way. Like I went around family. Yes, I grew up with my my brothers and sisters who stuff like that. Like we grew up together, but I spent more time with my aunt and uncle, my mother and father. What is what I mean, because that's what they are to me. But when they died, there was kind of this void that happened when it came to family, and I viewed family just a little bit different. And I love my family. I do. Like I'm proud of them making their strides, and the way they're raising their families and stuff. And my siblings are doing really well, but it's not as tight knit as some other families. Like we don't talk regularly at all. I mean, outside of liking stuff on Facebook daily. Like we like each other's stuff on Facebook all the time, but there's no actual like phone calls and conversations. And I do think about that, and I am getting to a place where I'm like, okay, Kevin, maybe you should make the call. Maybe you should reach out and just initiate it, because life is really, really short. And I don't want to get to a place where, we're losing someone. And it's like, damn, I should have done more. So it could be better. So do I get along? Yes, we get along. But I think it could be better. It could be way better. But yeah. That's it. Let's see. Another question. Okay, this is a different one. Do you feel that children should be sheltered from unhappiness? Damn. Okay, this is a great question. I wonder if you have kids, because damn. Okay, if I had a child, I would want 98% of their days to be filled with happiness, or at least that joy that a child has. However, I would like them to understand that life isn't always going to be fair or roses. If death happens, I'm going to explain death. If something happens, I'm going to explain it. I would like to explain human behavior to a child. I think we don't give children enough credit. And especially the one thing I think is crazy about adults, it's like they forget who they were as children and who they were as teens. They don't remember what they were doing. They don't remember how much they actually understood and perceived from adults. Kids understand a lot more than we allow them to in our minds. So there's nothing wrong with explaining to a child that's of age, I'm talking like 4 or 5 and up, that's starting to understand concepts. You can explain the more difficult things in life to them, and just in a way that they can understand. And you don't want to miss your mark and have it be taught to them by someone else who's probably going to be more harsh, or just not do it in the way that you want them to do. So yes, I would want them to be happy. I wouldn't, show them tragedy after tragedy all the time. But, if a family member passed away, I would explain to them what death actually was versus saying they went to sleep, because that can actually fuck somebody up psychologically. When you tell somebody someone goes to sleep, like I've seen people do that because they didn't want to tell their kids that someone died. They'll say, "Oh, he just went to sleep." But the problem is that person never appears again. So this kid starts looking at adults that they love and gets afraid of them. They get afraid that their parents are going to go to sleep and never show up again. So that's why it's not a good idea to do that. So you have to explain it. I always think about the Cosbys where, the goldfish died and you have to explain that to them. It's okay. Like, it's okay for a child to experience grief when they're little, as long as they have the support system, and that way it's out the way early and it's not a shock later. So I hope that answers it. But for the most part, I would like the kid to be happy. But if something does happen that hits home, I would like to explain it in a way that they can understand and not necessarily, sugarcoat it or whatever. So there's that. That's that. If you could have personally witnessed anything, what would you want to have seen? Ooh, there's so many things. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and give you a couple. Number one, I would have loved to go into a Michael Jackson concert in his prime. Well, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. There's a couple people I would love to see in their prime that are no longer with us in concert. I also wish that I could have met Barack Obama during his presidency. That's one thing that kind of irks me. Like, I wish I could have gone to the inauguration or something, but I didn't. And I don't know. I thought that would have been an amazing experience, but it hasn't happened. But I could still be in a room with him one day. He just won't be the president anymore, and that makes me sad. But whatever. Okay, next question. If you could wake up tomorrow in the body of someone else, who would you pick and what would you do? Oh, shit. Beyonce? I just want to know I want to know the inner workings. I want to just, yeah. And I want to be on a performance day so I can perform in front of all those people. I want to just know, like, what that mind is like. Like, if I was in her body, it would still be my mind. So I'll probably be looking around crazy as fuck, not knowing what to do. But still, I would want to be Beyonce for the day. Yeah, I just want to experience that life. Just go on a yacht or something or whatever. I don't know. I just want to experience it, see what it's like. So yeah, easy. All right. What question do you hate to answer? Come on, question about a question. All right. What question do you hate to answer? A question that I hate to answer. Oh, sexual history questions. I hate that shit. Like with people that you're dating or whatever. Okay, let me explain this. I'm cool with asking shit that affects you. Like, oh, what is your status? No problem. We can get tests together. We can do the full 9. I have no problem with talking about, like, health concerns and shit like that. That's fine because that affects you. If we're going to have sex and I have something you need to know about, that affects you and vice versa. I have no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is when you want to dig into my sexual past. Hell fucking no. That's none of your business. What I did in the past is none of your business, as long as it's not affecting you. All you need to know is I don't have any STDs. I don't have anything that I'm going to give you should anything pop off because we've been tested together. But asking me about body count, listen, let me tell you something. I don't even know anymore. Just keeping it real. The last time I counted sexual partners was in college. I sat down. I was bored in an economics class, and I was like, let's just start writing down some shit. That number got a little higher than I thought it would because I kept thinking of people, and what I did was I didn't just do penetrative sex. I included everything. I was like oral, I did oral, counted as sex for me. I was like, okay, if it goes into any orifice of your body. So I was like, oral counts. So I just was just putting shit down. I was like, ooh, this was a bad idea. I just instantly was just like, oh God, what's wrong with me? Never do this again. And I never, ever, 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 and this was like 10 years ago, I never, ever, ever counted again. All I made sure I did was, and I still do, I get tested every 6 months for everything. And I keep note of sexual partners in that time period, just so you know if anything happens, you can go back. That's it. But I cannot stand when people who date me like, oh, how many people have you slept with? Nigga, I don't fucking know. And why are you asking me this? Just know we're good. If you want to go get tested together, cool. You want to see that shit, cool. But what happened before you, sorry, listen, that's none of your goddamn business. I just feel like, I don't know, I just don't like shit like that. So that's a question that I actually hate to answer. Sorry about that. I had a little cough or whatever. All right. Let's see. If you had a brainwashing machine, who would you use it on? White races? Or hell, a lot of white people actually. They ain't got to be racist. I would literally, it would be white racists and homophobes. I would brainwash the fuck out of them because listen, y'all got to change that damn stance. It doesn't help anybody. It just doesn't. Next question. Let's see. I'm scrolling through because I don't really. Some of these aren't the best. So I'm just skipping them. I apologize if I don't get to your question, but there's just some things that I answered on the last show. And you just have to let it go. Do you have anyone you go to for advice in person or online? Yes, I have quite a few people I go to for advice. My best friends. I think the person I go to the most for advice, like advice, well, here's the thing. It depends on what it is for. Okay, so my best friend Christina, I talk to her the most, hands down, the most. We talk daily, all day, texting all day, tweeting all day, sending posts all day, talking about just crazy stuff. And I actually get advice from her, like, 'cause she knows my inner workings and all that stuff. We get advice. But I also have other people like Wabi who I talk to, and we give each other advice, but we have more of a rant type of thing. Like, we can be like super vulnerable with each other. And I can do that with Christina too. And there's that. But if it's something that I need, like as far as like cooking or homemaking and stuff like that, I can hit up Charles, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago. He's good for that, like stuff like that. So I have a few people that I can go to for different things. But if there was one person in general that I go to more than anybody else, it would be Christina, because we just like it's next level in a completely different way. So. Yeah, there's that. So, next question. Huh. Do I want to answer this one? I feel like a setup. Okay, I'll answer it. What holidays do you celebrate? Are you a religious person or not? Okay. Currently, I guess I celebrate them all, but I don't necessarily take them seriously, if that makes sense. Like, Christmas, for example. I like being off on Christmas. I like getting gifts. I like giving gifts. I am not a Christian. That's why I feel like this question is a setup. I told someone the other day, I was like, I feel like I have to keep coming out the closet. First, as a gay man. Number two, as someone who's actually not a Christian. And number three, my views on monogamy versus open relationships. It's like I have to keep admitting things. I don't align with Christianity. And I know that's like, what? But you're black. Up. I don't align with it. I believe in God. That's it. Like, I don't align with the Bible. I used to. I grew up that way. But one day I woke up and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I'm tired of trying to fit into this. It doesn't make sense. Science, evolution, Homo sapiens. I was like, I'm good. I just woke up and that was it. So Christmas doesn't have a thing for me. It just doesn't. I am spiritual. I do believe in energy. I think that all that shit is passed off, no matter, between animals, people, whatever. I'm very Erykah Badu with my thinking, and I've accepted that. I'm not looking for validation. I'm not looking for people to do that, but me personally, I'm not I'm not a Christian, so there's that. But I am spiritual, and I do like meditation. I do have faith in a higher being. I do live my life very much like other people. Instead of tithing, I give to charity and help people. It's the same thing. It's a passing of energy. Instead of prayer, I meditate. It's literally a 1-1 situation, and you kind of, in my opinion, you yield the same results. I know that a lot of people won't agree with that, but it's my truth, and that's just that. All right. I like this one because it goes kind of hand in hand with the next one. Are you still learning who you are? Absolutely. I don't think we ever stop learning who we are. I think that we're always evolving and we're always changing things, and you'd be surprised at how your views change. It happens to me all the time. I do have a greater sense of who I am now, which causes me to be more confident and have a backbone and stand in my own truth. Like answering that last question, I could have never done that a few years ago. I would be too afraid. But I think we're always learning ourselves, and I think that's beautiful. Um, but yeah, let's see. I'm gonna answer one more question, but let me see what it's going to be. Let's see. Huh. Give me a second. Let's try this one. What is the habit you are proudest of breaking or want to break? Okay. Um what habit do I have that I want to break? Um Laziness. I said that earlier. I want to stop being so goddamn lazy. And I think that comes from just actually doing shit. Like actually working and actually just fighting through the resistance and doing it. And let's just do another one just for the hell of it. What cheers you up? What cheers me up, and this is real talk, is 90s R&B. I don't care what kind of day I am having. If I can put on a playlist and it's filled with 90s R&B, I literally just feel better. It's something about the nostalgia. You connect the memories to a better time, and it's just an amazing feeling. So that would be that. But yeah, so those were the questions for the 20th episode. Oh my God, 20 episodes. Remember, every 10 episodes, that's what we're going to do is question and answer. So make sure you submit your questions. You can submit them starting now, and I'll save them for the next episode, for the question and answer episode, which will be episode 30, and that'll be here in no time, I'm sure. But that's the show. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe on all of the networks that it's on. Share it with your friends. Every single one of you, just take this post and just press share on Facebook, share on Twitter. Please tag me. I will love you for it forever. Every person, just share it with one other person. That's all I'm asking this week. Please, 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 please. But thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you all next week. Peace out.